Welcome to Cape Breton Movers and Shakers, where we have conversations with people who are doing positive things here in Cape Breton. I'm Richard Lorway, president of goCapeBreton.com, and today I'm talking with Mary Janet MacDonald, creator of Tunes and Wooden Spoons, a popular video series on Facebook, and now a cookbook based upon the recipes she shares. Mary Janet lives in Port Hood, Cape Breton. Welcome, Mary Janet.
Hi, Richard. Nice to be here.
So how did Tunes and Wooden Spoons get started?
Well, the very first Sunday that I did my cinnamon rolls, and the week or just the days previous to that Sunday that I went on air, I was just talking to our daughter Margie in Fort McMurray, and she was quite concerned, wondering what are we going to do during this potential, going forward with COVID, and what we're going to do with this lockdown, and everybody has to stay at home, and we've got to find something interesting to pass the time. And we had done multiple projects before, just within our own family, and a photo contest, different little things, or crafts or something like that. And so she said, Mom, one of the best things that you make are the cinnamon rolls. Our kids grew up with what I created, my little take on cinnamon rolls. She said, why don't you just go on Facebook Live and show people, us, the family and friends, how to make your cinnamon rolls. And it was just that simple, basically. And I hadn't gone live before. And I said, well, I'll figure it out. And I wasn't at all nervous or worried or thinking there would only be a few. And of course, I went live that Sunday. It wasn't Tunes and Wooden Spoons at that time. It was just me. And I love to teach. I'm not a school teacher, but I love conveying step-by-step instructions for anything, whether it be dance or whether it be baking or what have you. And so I just did that. This is how I make my cinnamon rolls. And it was, live and step by step. And my son was very worried but Mom, when you put them in the oven, what are you going to do then? He was very concerned. This was Mitchell, that there's going to be all this dead air or whatever, but he should know me better than that, because I love to talk. And I talked during the baking time, and just basically said, well, you know what? Here we are. We're just going to have a little visit here and have a cup of tea, and just like you were sitting in my kitchen, even though you can't be here at this time. And that's how it started. And on that very day, my granddaughter Anna was baking along with me up in Halifax with her dad, our son Brennan, and his wife Kelly. And in that whole process, that day, she said, Grandma should call this Tunes and Wooden Spoons. I was playing a recording of my niece, Natalie McMaster, on the show that day, her new Sketches album, and just wanted to have a little music. Of course, it had to be fiddle music in the background. And then that's when everything happened, in the coming days, tons of friend requests came in on Facebook, and I had my personal Facebook page set to public. So really, I guess anybody could just pop in and watch, but I was just overwhelmed with the feedback. And by the next Sunday, we had a website, we had a Facebook page, we had a YouTube channel. My grandsons were working overtime. They got me a Twitter account and an Instagram. I swear I didn't know what hit me. And that was the birth of Tunes and Wooden Spoons.
There you go. So how do your grandkids relate to Grandma being a Facebook celebrity?
Really, they are the most supportive group. Like we have 12 grandchildren, and the youngest, of course, is just 1.5. But they range from 1.5 up to age 22 now. And those older grandsons and granddaughters are quite used to me baking. When they come, They expect home baking,
Of course.
and they're your biggest fans, and they'll always tell me, Grandma, you could make $1 million. You've got to open up your own bakery. Just that confidence that sweet little grandchildren have. And so they are very proud of Grandma that this has happened.
Super. By the way, I've made your cinnamon rolls. And
Have you?
they turned out really well, too well, in fact. There's just two of us. And my wife and I said,
Okay.
no, we ate the whole thing, which is not entirely a good thing at this point. They said, we'll have to save this for when our grandkids come home. Otherwise, we'll just eat the whole thing again. So
I know they're pretty addictive. If you don't have a group around, that smell goes right through the kitchen.
I'll just have half of one. I think that was famous last word.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, you mentioned how you started this up as a way to deal with the shut-in during COVID. And of course, it's a worldwide trend. A lot of people have sort of taken up baking as part of this. So it's kind of a bit of a perfect storm there, I think.
It totally, it just was, the timing was perfect, I believe, for creating this. We all needed one another. I truly believe that everybody was looking for something. And my page just happened to kind of reached out to people. But I really I credit the media too for helping gain that notoriety. Besides having that Facebook page, a local paper, the Cape Breton Post, if I may mention that.
Sure.
A girl there had contacted me, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but she contacted me and she did a story on this phenomena because everybody was talking about it at that time within that 2-week period. So when they published that story, then next came the Chronicle Herald. They picked up on that story and went and did their story on it. Then CTV's The Morning Show in Halifax picked up on it, and I went on that. And then CTV Your Morning in Ontario, or the national show, they picked up on it. And I had a chat with Ben Mulroney on his show, and CBC, as it happens, they even had a little. They just talked about it on their show, and it was another comedy. CBC, how many children does Mary Janet have? And there was some kind of a quiz, and where I had mentioned hello to all the kids on that first show. So it just kind of spun out of control there, and that's how so many followers found out about me. And so it was kind of that whole swirl of media attention that I think that's why so many followers joined at that time.
Well, I mean, it's a good news story, and it's I think you're right. People are looking, their priorities are changing as a result of this pandemic, and they're more about real connections and family connections. And
yes,
I see that in my own family as well. So, and I have one daughter now who's thinking about moving home as a result because, they pursued the big money out west, and it's not everything,
That's right. And really, I think during this whole time of our pandemic, people really were returning to the basics and just learning baking and crafting and finding new ways to pass the time. It was great. I mean, I keep saying that all of this, it's not just about the baking. It was about people finding people and finding an at-home atmosphere where they could kind of just sit and have a visit, and they're chatting with one another too. There's just a great format there where they're speaking with one another and they're listening to me, and they just write such beautiful emails and messages. So it's become just a good feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's nice that I can use it too, not just for baking, but maybe as a platform to promote where we live, and just promote our local musicians, our authors, our people who are crafters. If I have them on the show, and it's become much more than the baking. And then there's some Sundays that I return to just being myself. I may not have an entertainer now that will come on a Sunday, for example. And they like that too. They like returning to the way it was at the very beginning, where I just had recorded music. So there's room for all those things. And it's become just as important to me as it is to those who follow.
Right. So the first time we met, by the way, I don't know if you recall this, but I was shooting a video with Alistair McGilvery and Sheldon McGuinness, Broad Cove. This is in
Oh,
1997, and you were
yes,
step dancing on stage. And I know
yes,
you've taught step dancing in Scotland and other places. So, and you mentioned the Beatons and you mentioned the McMasters. Obviously, these are some of the families that are quite prominent in Cape Breton music,
yes.
and you've long been an ambassador for that. So how important is it to you to sort of have the music, the tunes part of the wooden spoons in your programming?
Well, to me, if you're going to have a typical visit, um, and or a little gathering or a little ceilidh or whatever, well, that's what it's comprised of. It's like people getting together, having a cup of tea or a little gillick, and and having food and having music. I just felt from the very beginning that I wanted to create that kind of an environment, even though it was just me in the kitchen for the most part. But all of these people were there, and I wanted them to feel that this is what a typical Cape Breton visit would be, and I think they all go hand in hand.
Yes, yeah, I absolutely would agree. So now you've published a book, and
Yeah.
so I know there's recipes in the book. What else is in the book?
The recipes, all the recipes that are in the book are all of the recipes that I had made over the last year and a half, or at least up until late May on the shows, plus a few other recipes that I haven't done a tutorial for that. But the publishers wanted it to be more than just the recipes, because they felt that there was a real connection with a a natural audience that's already there, and that they wanted to know more about who I was, for example, and my life story, growing up in the village of Mabu and then moving to Port Hood and living here for the past 50 years. And just what draws people to Cape Breton? What is it about Cape Breton? So that was a real, I wanted to really capture appropriately the culture of Cape Breton, and I
Right.
had help with that, and just all of the people who settled here, and all of the music, and so we've I think we did a really good job on describing the communities where I was raised, and also really giving its due to the culture and the music that is here, and just the beauty of where we live, and that all of that is in sections in the book. And I think a lot of people that I'm hearing back from, and your own story, and who you are, and what roots you came from, but sometimes as sad as it is, like some of my story is sad, where my mom died with 37, but people really connect with that, and they love hearing that story, because then they get to know you even better.
Yeah.
And I think sharing a lot of yourself in the book, um, or sharing a lot of myself in the book, really resonated with a lot of people. And I I hear it time and time again in the emails that are coming back to me, that they don't just love the recipes and all of the photography in there, but also that connection that they now have with me, and they know my story. So that's really awesome to me, and I'm an open book. I tend to share.
Well, I'm a fan as well, by the way, just so you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, so what's next for Tunes and Wooden Spoons?
I don't know yet. To me, Tunes and Wooden Spoons, started out, I really never had a plan.
Right.
And well, as long as this COVID is in our world, I thought, well, I'm just going to try to keep moving along and keep showing up on the Sundays and having people visit. And now this next little milestone that happened was the book, which I really never intended for there to be a book, because I always post my recipes on my website and they're free. But again, the followers encouraged that would happen. So now that is done. Is COVID done? I
I don't know
I
if it'll
don't
ever be done.
know. I think that I'm going to continue for this year, but come January, I'm going to be thinking about what form it will take in the new year. It's a family decision,
Right.
and it may mean maybe just a couple of times a month. I'm not sure. Or there may be some new and interesting things that the children are suggesting that we could do, which I'm not going to say that right now, because I don't really know.
Okay.
We've got to really seriously think about this, because I never intended it to even be this long, but it's been, I guess, a comforting presence to a lot of people of all ages. It was surprising to me that there's so many children, and then there was a lot of elderly who are alone. And as a matter of fact, just about an hour ago, I returned a phone call to a lady. She's in her 90s, and she has not missed one episode since the very beginning. Her
Wow.
grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, they make sure that they go to visit her every Sunday and set it all up for her so that she can watch the show. She loves the baking, and she loves the music and any little foolish stories that I might be sharing on that day. And I'll tell you, every Christmas since in all of her married life and since grandchildren are growing up and all of that, she has made every December on one day homemade donuts for all of her children and grandchildren. And
Right.
and now that she's at the age that she's at, they come and they help. It's a big family affair. And I asked her, I said, would you ever come and do that on my Sunday show? And she was like, bashful as she is, no, I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure. And I said, what if I came and did it from your house? Oh, well, you never know.
Yeah.
You know what? I am going to pursue that, because I think that those are the kinds of people we have to, not ever forget.
I
And
agree.
they had so much to share with us. And I had a lady on one of my shows making bonnet one day, and there was over 1,000 people watching live on that particular day. So it's important that we remember from where we came and all the recipes that have come from that, and share that with everybody. You know what I mean?
There you go. So Tunes and Wooden Spoons goes on the road. That's the next iteration.
You know what? I have been on the road for a few shows and actually going to be going over to Sydney to the Big Fiddle. And I'm going to be doing a show over there actually, it's going to be Halloween, the day that I'm there,
Ah,
October 31st. It's in one of the rooms at the Big Fiddle. And so it's wonderful to go out there and meet the people and to see the excitement. And I've had people drop in here, a lot of people from Ontario just this summer, and you're meeting a whole new group of friends, that have
yep,
come to the island because of Tunes and Wooden Spoons. And next week, I'm co-hosting a Cape Breton tour, right? Mostly of Inverness County.
right.
And there's a whole bunch of followers that have signed up for that tour, and I can't wait to meet them. So it's brought so much interest and love to my life that I'm just really blessed.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for visiting with us today.
You're very welcome. I just loved being here. Anything I can do for Cape Breton, I will.
All right. Super. I've been speaking with Mary Janet MacDonald, the creator of Tunes and Wooden Spoons video series and now cookbook. And we'll see you next time on Cape Breton Movers and Shakers.